let's move on with this. You know, we have all been anxiously waiting for a Fantastic Four trailer. Now, a lot of us have kind of speculated and thought, and we've heard rumblings that they'd have it at Super Bowl. But just because they have a trailer at a Super Bowl, that doesn't mean that's where it's first going to drop. As a matter of fact, we've gotten news coming out saying that the new Jurassic World trailer is actually going to drop tomorrow, even though a lot of people are still expecting it to actually air at the Super Bowl. So that's coming. Well, it appears that the new Fantastic Four trailer is going to drop tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. West Coast time. And to kind of be the herald, like an unto the Silver Surfer being the herald for Galactus, a teaser for that trailer. Yes, the dreaded trailer for a trailer has now come out.
Oh, I think.
It's come out.
Yeah, it came out. Snap.
Boom.
Here we go. You're back.
Okay. Oh, is there sound though?
Let's see. Hang on, John.
Hang on, John.
Make sure we got your sound.
Yeah.
We see you.
We see you, but he doesn't.
But I don't
Hold
got
on.
any sound.
We see you, John. We just don't have any sound.
Still no.
Nope. Still nothing. Let's
It's
see.
like trying to talk to Carol Marcus in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Well, anyway.
All right,
see you, but
now-
I can't
There
hear
we
you.
go. Now we got
Now
you.
it's there. So because I'm doing this on my phone now, if my phone rings, it takes the microphone away and moves it over to
gotcha.
something else.
Ouch.
Anyway, they dropped a first teaser for Fantastic Four, and admittedly, it doesn't show anything. I
Right.
doubt even anything from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what it gives us. It gives us the world. As we see these little kids kind of running through the streets, and because remember, this movie is not happening in the 1960s. Because if you just say this movie's happening in the 60s, that makes you think it's our 1960s. And it's not. This is in another universe. This is in another world. It's in what their version of the 1960s would be. So for them to see these kids running around in the streets, and then you see these cars, and you're getting that sense of that aesthetic that we're going to get in the movie, and that kind of excited look like, oh, something fantastic is going to be happening, and like some kind of countdown to the launch of the Fantastic Four. Who knows, whatever that is. So I thought the look of it was really cool. I like getting our first glimpse into the aesthetic of that world. But really what it brings up the question for us is the big news isn't the teaser itself. It's that it's announcing the trailer comes tomorrow. And so, Rob, let me ask you, first of all, what did you think of the little teaser? I thought it was really nice. But secondly, and most importantly, we now know this trailer's coming tomorrow. What are you expecting to see in this Fantastic Four trailer?
Well, when the sun comes out, I think that what I'm expecting from this trailer is, like you said, the world. I loved seeing that whole 60s. I love the idea that the Fantastic Four are already the Fantastic Four in this movie.
They're like rock stars,
They're
right?
rock
Yeah.
stars, you know, they're TV stars, whatever. Whatever's happened to them in orbit, the gamma radiation or whatever, has already occurred. So they're already like ballers in their universe, which I think is a great way to begin because we already know who the Fantastic Four are. We don't need another origin story yet again, which I think, like what James Gunn is doing with Superman, kind of the same vibe, a different universe. Superheroes are already active. People already know who they are. There's already a sense of wonder. And the fact that the kids are all excited about the Fantastic Four makes this, first of all, this different approach. I'm in for that alone. But also, like with James Gunn's Superman, this has to work. Like,
Yeah.
they got Matt Shackman to come back, and I loved what he did with WandaVision. You know, despite the fact that the end of WandaVision might not have been as exciting as you wanted it to be, the show itself, I mean, when you got to that fourth episode and you were out of the sitcom world and into the real world and seeing what happened, I was like, I really like what he did. I think they really have taken the time they've needed to develop this and make it great. And look, I'm not going to be a cynic. Hope springs eternal. It's the Fantastic Four. There is awe and wonder in the world to be found, and I think we're going to get it, John. I think we're going to get it. But then again, you know, tomorrow at 4 a.m., I might feel differently.
Well, I mean, let me put this to both of you guys that are there. Like, we're getting this trailer tomorrow. Chris, like, what are you kind of expecting? But here's a bigger question. I am wondering, are we going to see the transformed Ben Grimm thing. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to see shots of the family. I'm assuming we're going to see, Backrack like there in his normal human form. But one of my biggest question marks is, are we going to see the Thing? So I don't know. What are you expecting from it? And are we going to see Thing?
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Hungry Root. Grocery shopping used to be one of the biggest struggles. Between your busy schedule and wanting to eat healthier, it just feels impossible to stay on top of everything. But all that changes when you discover Hungry Root, the easiest way to eat healthy without the hassles. Hungry Root is like having your own personal grocery shopper. They take care of the weekly shopping for you, recommending healthy, high-quality groceries tailored to your tastes, nutritional preferences, and even health goals. They've got it all: smoothies, snacks for the kids, ready-to-eat meals, and even supplements. For me, Hungry Root is absolutely a game changer, guys. My health goals have become so much easier to stick to. I love how they personalize my cart every week and even get smart about my preferences as I go. It's honestly stress-free and so simple. You're gonna love Hungry Root as much as I do. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/Campea and use the code Campea. That's hungryroot.com/Campea, using the code Campea to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea.
Oh, I absolutely think we're going to see the Thing. If they're already established,
And we're going to see a thing, and he's going to say it's clobbering time.
Oh, man. And it's going to be so good. Oh, cousin, it's clobbering time.
It's clobbering time.
Perfect. It's going to be amazing. I'm really pumped about all of this, honestly. I'm really, really psyched. The big gamble here, though, is the whole, different universe and giving it this different aesthetic. Because right now, this is a thing that Marvel's kind of taken a back seat on, of we're kind of doing traditional superhero movies, right?
Right.
For a while, we were a little more experimental, and sometimes that worked and sometimes it didn't. But really making this its own kind of mod 1960s world, that is a big risk, even though that's when these comics took place. And I'm wondering how people are going to feel about that after we see this trailer. If it's going to feel like very period piecey, very sci-fi-y, or if people are going to just be genuinely excited about seeing the first family.
Over or under, we hear "I hunger" in this trailer.
Oh, I don't think in this one.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I feel
Come on,
that.
not even in the black and sees the stars, and you hear it. They've got a great actor who could deliver that line.
Holy shit, his voice
They
is so
do,
good.
but
Oh
here's
my
the thing
God.
that we got to
For
remember.
anyone who's been playing Final
Here's what we gotta
Fantasy
remember,
and
though.
he's Sid, oh my God.
It is the first trailer.
Yeah.
And the pattern for a lot of the big movies lately is the first trailer, very little, sometimes no dialogue. It just gives you a sense of the style and kind of the movement of it and the action of it and that kind of stuff. A lot of musical hits to go with certain shots and things like that. Like, they usually don't get too into it in the first trailer. And so I suspect we might get a shot of Silver Surfer flying through the sky, but I don't think there's going to be any trace of Galactus in this trailer. I don't think they're going to tell us what the movie is about in the first trailer. I think we're just going to get we're family and some wild stuff and everything like that, but I don't think we're going to get anything now look, Rob, if they did do this thing where at the very end of the trailer, they just cut to deep space and you don't see anything,
right,
just deep space, and you hear "I hunger" or something like that.
Or the Earth.
Okay, I mean, if you're going to have any dialogue, you put that dialogue in it. That could be fun.
Just because I would lose my mind. As a long-time, lifelong Marvel fan, I have a Galactus toy that says that. I'm looking forward to that.
That
We're
says
getting
"I
classic
hunger"?
Galactus, not Ultimate Galactus that's a cloud.
I still think we will get more. I think we'll get more Silver Surfer than anything else.
Yeah.
I saw some people in the chat asking, do we think we'll see Mole Man? We might get a little bit Mole Man, actually. You might get a little something like that if we want to see, if they want to put in this first trailer shots of Johnny or Sue or Reed fighting something or somebody, they'll probably give us a little bit of that. Again, I'm just not expecting a lot of narrative. I'm expecting a lot of visuals, but not a lot of narrative in the first trailer. I think they'll save that for the second trailer. And by the way, I already saw some people asking, well, wait a minute, are they going to drop a second trailer at the Super Bowl? No, that's not what I think is happening here. I think they're just putting out now the trailer that will be playing during the Super Bowl. And look, some people might ask, well, why would they do that? Well, because the people that are hungering for this trailer will rush and watch it online tomorrow. And then at the Super Bowl, remember, they're spending this $8 million to put out this little spot, not to get in front of the people who are already excited for Fantastic Four. They're trying to put it out at Super Bowl to put it in front of all those football fans who may not be thinking about Fantastic Four right now and go, hey, you might want to check this out. So, and that's what I think the same thing's going to be, because it sounds like tomorrow you guys are going to have two things to talk about. You're going to have Fantastic Four trailer and a Jurassic World trailer to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
I
so
hunger for both because they both involve big creatures eating things.
Do we see Johnny Storm flame on, or do we just see him in his normal form in this trailer tomorrow? What do you two guys think?
I feel like from what we have in this little teaser, I feel like there is going to be this kind of exhibition kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Of we'll see Reed reach for something, we'll see Sue phase out, we'll see Johnny flame on, and then we'll get some clobber in time.
Yes. And they're going to say those things.
Yeah.
We're going to hear them say those things.
Oh, and you think we'll hear the line like clobber in time?
Oh,
yeah. I don't think we'll hear. Here's what I think. Because Fantastic Four are already in this universe, I think we're going to probably see some kid wearing a Ben Grimm shirt that says like clobber in time on it or something like that, with or without hearing. But I think we're going to actually hear the words flame on.
I genuinely think it's going to be a presentation, and then we're going to have we're clear, and we're going to see them kind of drop the like personas of how they have to present themselves.
That's interesting.
And then go back to more like bickering family kind of stuff.
Maybe. I think if we're going to hear like a flame on and he clacks on with flame, it's going to be a stinger at the end of it.
Ooh.
Like it'll be like Fantastic Four and then flame on and then it's done,
Yeah.
Here's another question. Do you think, because we've seen some bigger films do this too, do you think this first trailer is going to be like a minute long, more of a teaser, or do you think we're going to get a full blown 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes trailer tomorrow?
I think whatever it is, personally, it's going to be a character trailer.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's going to be big. It's going to be a big trailer. They need to convince. Remember, they're coming on the heels of three fairly. I mean, the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies weren't awful. They made money, but they
were awful.
This trailer needs to be.
They were awful.
This trailer needs to be big. They're going all in. They're the Marvel's first family. They've got to they got to convince a dubious audience that Marvel is back, baby, into the 1960s.
You know what? I think you're spot on with that. The fact that, listen, I don't think Marvel is unaware of the fact of the movie-going public's experience with the Fantastic Four the last 15 years has not been good.
Right.
It's been quite disappointing. And we just recently tried to relaunch Fox did, but they just recently tried to relaunch Fantastic Four, and that landed with a thud. So I think you're onto something there, Rob. I think, again, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I think they're going to want to make a bold first impression, which is why I think we're going to hear Flame On. I think we're going to see Johnny Storm. I think it's going to be a full 2.5 minute trailer. Because I think you're right. They're going to want to come out swinging big.
There is an undercurrent, wouldn't you think, John, of epicness with Fantastic Four? I understand in terms of like the larger population has not seen the videos of the Hollywood Bowl and all that, but that was done for marketing terms. They didn't just do the Hollywood Bowl presentation naive to the fact that everyone was filming it and it was going to be all over YouTube. I feel like, we're not getting this bombastic score from the Thunderbolts or from Captain America 4. We're getting this undercurrent that people aren't quite aware of as it bubbles up of epicness that they're going to try to push for the Fantastic Four. Yeah. So actually, you guys definitely swayed me on that. I think they're going big on this.
All in.
Yeah, especially when
they're going to be brave and bold.
Rob, I remember you and I talking once, not too long ago, and you kind of thought that, like, we don't really know, since having to change their Kang plans, and we know the X-Men saga part of the MCU is starting to come up. But, you theorize that while they may not be the absolute centerpieces, the Fantastic Four, and maybe even particularly Reed Richards, is going to be playing a major role in the MCU as a whole moving forward.
Yes.
And if they are, to Jonathan's point, they have to give it that sense of epicness. They have to give it an event feel. Like, hey, guys, Fantastic Four coming out is not just another MCU movie. Fairly or unfairly, Thunderbolts, I'm actually more excited for Thunderbolts than I am for Fantastic Four. But Thunderbolts is just another MCU movie. And like, hopefully it'll be great and I'm excited for it, but it's just another MCU movie. I think what Jonathan is saying is absolutely right. I think Fantastic Four, and I think what Rob was alluding to is right, is going to be not just important for this one movie, it's important for what they're going to be trying to do moving forward. And they've got to have this Reed Richards and this team go over really big with the audience, because I think Rob's right. I do think they're going to be playing a central role in the MCU as a whole. So they got to go big.
Well, if you think about it, when Captain America was revived at the end of First Avenger, and he was a man out of time, he became sort of the central focus of a time that was long past, the greatest generation. We won World War II, and he was not cynical. We are now in these dark, cynical times, and the Fantastic Four could kind of play the same role that Steve Rogers played in the MCU back in when he was revived. The Fantastic Four coming from a different universe, they're like, gosh, gee willikers, we believe the world's a wonderful place. And the actual family element, the nuclear family element, both literally and figuratively, of the Fantastic Four could provide an element of hope in a dark world, a post-Thanos, post-Celestial, post-Adamantium, post-whatever world they leave us. When the Fantastic Four shows up, they literally could bring a sense of hope in the same way Superman can bring a sense of hope to the DC world that the Marvel Cinematic Universe desperately needs. And it's the first family. All the other heroes will be able to rally around these people that came from a different universe to bring something to the world that we were desperately in need of. And I don't know if they're going to do that, but it certainly is a way to rally a new Avengers team. Like Reed Richards was like, these Avengers sound wonderful. We should put them back together. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if Pedro Pascal's going to say, oh, gee willikers. I don't think he will. But I do think the idea of the Fantastic Four being a galvanizing force in our MCU could be really interesting and lead us into the next phase, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll end off with one question, okay, that I'm going to have for everybody here, and then we're gonna for technical issues, we're gonna wrap up the show a little bit earlier today. But I want to end it on this. I want to ask all three of you guys this: what percentage chance would you give this new Fantastic Four trailer that's dropping tomorrow morning exceeds the viewership numbers that the Superman trailer got? Because remember, the new Superman trailer became the 5th highest viewed trailer of all time in its first 24 hours. Will this trailer that's dropping tomorrow surpass the Superman one? Jonathan, I ask you first.
I don't think it's going to surpass it, although my heart wants it to, and nothing to do with DC, Marvel, fanboying, whatever. What it has to do with is that it means that it is a healthy state of affairs for superhero fare. Mm-hmm. It means people are excited to come back to theaters and excited about these movies again. I think that would only help Superman down the road. So I hope that it does better, but I think it's going to do less than, because there was so much curiosity about Gunn's direction.
All right, Rob, does this Fantastic Four trailer exceed the viewership numbers of the Superman trailer?
I'm with Jonathan on this. I don't think it's going to exceed the numbers, because I think even, especially within our circles, there's a lot of cynicism toward the MCU right now. That said, if this trailer is a banger, and if it creates something new that we haven't seen before, and I suspect it might, if only by this brief snippet we have of these kids, if the trailer is that good and shows us something very new and different, and it puts a smile on our face, and people are like, that was awesome. It very well could if the trailer's good, but I would suspect it's not going to do those Superman numbers. I don't think it will unless we're going to see something that exceeds all of our expectations.
Before I go over to Chris, I'll say I do not think it'll match the Superman numbers. Mostly because of the fact that the Superman film is just a more important film in the sense that it's the launch of a whole entire new cinematic universe. And like an entire cinematic franchise is riding on this movie and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're going to see big numbers for Fantastic Four's trailer in the first 24 hours. Maybe even top 10 all time, especially if it's good. But I don't see it cracking the top 5. I don't know. Chris, what do you think?
I mean, I do agree with all of you, but just to be a contrarian, I'm going to say that it's going to succeed. It's going to have higher numbers. It's going to do amazing. Mostly because we're having something that is a very different flavor. I think a lot of people are interested in how this world is being presented.
Marvel has a bigger, larger baked-in audience too right now.
I think
for
so.
Obvious reasons.
And so I feel like there's the potential of it doing really well, especially if we do have some kind of pop in here that is that, oh my God, have you seen the Fantastic Four trailer yet? You got to go give it a goog right now. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
Give it a goog?
Give it a goog. Give it a Google.
Is that the new slang for it?
Yeah.
Give it a goog.
Amy Newman says so many things that become just brainworms for me.